Well, he's a great guy. I've known him for 30 years, and he's warm and he's kind and he's funny, and he has a very dry sense of humour, not dissimilar to my own. Oh, bless him. He can get a bit worked up about things. He calls it journey puff. It's a kind of getting yourself into a bit of a taking before you have to go off somewhere.
The first thing about Annabelle is she's always very, very well turned out. She's always very smartly dressed. Even when she gets into her pyjamas, they're very smart pyjamas. I'm sure when she's a very old lady, but she's one of those old ladies that won't go out unless they've got their lipstick on. And I think she's inherited that from her mum. So I've always known her as being the very chic and well-dressed Annabelle Lord.
And he's also got this thing that he's the only person in the house who does any tidying up. When I first met him, he had all his herbs and spices in alphabetical order. And unfortunately, we've created a bit of chaos in his life. So he now has to contend with the fact that everybody's underwear, Molly and Hattie, gets left all over the floor. Bath towels never get hung up. And he does take it upon himself to do all the cleaning and tidying, but he often feels a little oppressed about this.
Is that she's very kind. She's very kind to other people and has a wide circle of friends who ask her for advice and whom she helps in a very generous and natural way, and not asking.
He's got a very, very good friend in Rob. And I think that they go out and they say terrible, terrible things about me and Gail, but they come back grinning and swaying in response to large quantities of red wine. But I think generally he's a homebod, and he loves being with his beloved Molly and Hattie, and of course Piper the cat. Well, what else can I say about him? He's very, very handsome. First time I met him, he was actually gobsmackingly handsome, and rather cool, and he didn't deign to speak to me for a long time. I remember he shook my hand in rather a cool way, and I then had to go and do something in his office because I was working in the same theatre as him, and he just looked at me fiercely. It took some time to realise that there was a very kind of kind heart in there, but he can be quite intimidating, I think.
She's very kind, and when any of us are feeling a bit low, she's again very generous with support and does it very naturally, which I don't suppose I do at all. I'm much more intolerant of people when they're not feeling 100% about things, and sort of I have much more brusque and want people to sort of just get on with it. So I think that's a really important and wonderful aspect of her personality. She's not without flaws. Probably the worst things is that she is one of the messiest people I've ever come across in my life, in terms of her complete seeming inability to ever put the top on the toothpaste, or wash up the porridge pot for breakfast, or hang up a towel. Unfortunately, from the gene pool, both of my daughters are exactly the same, and they've inherited their mother's, which I'm told is not to do with a laziness or carelessness. It's entirely due to the fact that it's some kind of medical condition that is prompting this to happen. So I've had to learn to tolerate that, although I have asked at times if there's a grant that I could get from the government to help me to deal with this problem.